Hey, Pastor Josh here. We are protected from untold evil. There are so many things that the Lord protects us from that we don't even realize that He is protecting us from. We don't realize the provision that we have. I think there are untold things that we can't even imagine that could have gone wrong in our life or that could go wrong in the future. Yet the Lord is protecting us from it. I think we'll find out so many of those protections, provisions that the Lord provides us. We'll find out about them in heaven. And here is one that the Lord uses to protect the Apostle Paul. So if you remember, the Apostle Paul is in prison in Caesarea. And there has now been a new governor. It is now Festus is now the governor. Felix has gone out, and now there's a new governor named Festus. Now, 3 days after Festus had arrived in the province, it's his third day on the job, he went up to Jerusalem from Caesarea. Now, his headquarters is in Caesarea, but it's going to be very important for him to have good relations with those folks in Jerusalem, especially with the Jewish leadership. And so he goes to Jerusalem, and the chief priests and the principal men of the Jews laid out their case against Paul. They said, "We got to get rid of this guy. Can you take care of it?" And they urged him, asking as a favor against Paul that he summon him to Jerusalem. Why? Because they were planning an ambush to kill him on the way. So the Jewish leadership says, here, let's have a real trial here in Jerusalem. You go back to Caesarea, you get the soldiers, and you bring Festus down here to Jerusalem, and we'll have a big old trial, and we will see what is true about Paul and what should happen to him. But the reason they were saying go back to Caesarea and bring him to Jerusalem wasn't because they wanted to have a trial, but it was because they were planning to kill him on the way. I wonder, is this connected to those 40 men that took a vow not to eat until they killed the Apostle Paul? Don't know, but there was evil that was planned against the Apostle Paul. There is untold evil and sin that the Lord protects us from. And here's an example of how he does this for the Apostle Paul. So Festus, though, replied that Paul was being kept at Caesarea and he himself intended to go there shortly. He said, I'm going there shortly. So let the men of authority among you go down with me. If you want to have a trial against Paul, you sure can do it, but you're going to go to Caesarea with me. I'm not going to bring Paul here to Jerusalem. And so here we see God protecting, an attitude for us to adopt. This is the Lord protecting the Apostle Paul through the decision of the governor Festus. And then he says, if there's anything wrong about the man, let them bring charges against him. Why don't you come to the place where the Roman seat of authority is? I'm not going to bring him down to Jerusalem and have a trial there. And so in that way, the Lord protected the Apostle Paul. And how many untold evils are we protected from that we are even totally unaware of? Pray that's been a blessing to you. I'll see you all in the next video.